I want to relax during New Year holidays. With this in mind, I started to do some major cleaning, but I cannot seem to finish it. I think to myself, maybe I'm not very good at this. I have not changed since I got married. Every year I get so busy that I think it is the busiest time of the year. The busiest time of the year is here again. I'm Olivia. I got married 6 months ago. I met my husband John through a friend's introduction, and after 3 years of dating, we got married. My husband has an older brother who is married to Amelia, and they have an 8-year-old son. Every year, as the year-end approaches, they visit their parents' house and spend time together as a family. This is my first time experiencing it since getting married, so this year I finished the house cleaning early and prepared to return to my in-laws' house. On December 31st, around noon, my husband and I headed to my in-laws' house by car. If you can enjoy myself, that's all that matters, even though you might be a bit conscious and careful since it's your first time spending New Year's at my parents' house. But I'm really nervous. I wonder if I'll be okay. Because I'm clumsy and inefficient. Don't worry. Mom may be a bit different, but if anything happens, I'll protect you. Don't worry. You know, we also have my sister-in-law here. Yeah, that's reassuring. But don't worry. Your mom is a good person, so... Oh, I'm glad to hear that. I'm looking forward to sushi. I love sushi. It's such a joy to have sushi with family and celebrate New Year's. Yeah, that's right. It's all about enjoying yourself and having a good time. At our year-end family gathering, it seems they always arrange for premium sushi to be delivered, and both my husband and I were really looking forward to it. And I was completely reassured by my husband's kind words. When I arrived at my in-laws' house, my mother-in-law welcomed me, but she immediately said that the year-end starts with cleaning and she made me clean. Later, when my brother-in-law and his wife arrived, they complained about being late with a frown on her face. The rough atmosphere overwhelmed me somehow. As we started cleaning, things turned out to be quite difficult. It was too dirty and messy that it made me wonder how much cleaning hadn't been done. Could it be they intentionally left it like this for this day? It was a situation that gave me a sense of distrust. And then, there was the dinner we had been looking forward to. As we started serving the customary premium sushi, my mother-in-law started assigning tasks one after another. Since there's chicken in the refrigerator, please make some fried chicken. Oh, we don't have any soup, do we? Eventually, she even asked me to buy more beer because we ran out. I wish she had told me earlier. I'm so hungry, and that delicious-looking sushi is put on hold. My stomach is rumbling. After finishing cooking, I quickly went to the convenience store to buy some beers and hurried back. And then, to my surprise, all the high-end sushi was completely gone. As I stood there dumbfounded, my mother-in-law. Great job! It was so delicious that I ate it all. The bluefin tuna here is amazing. The sea urchin and salmon roe are also fresh. What? Didn't I tell you to save Olivia's portion? Oh, right! Olivia, over here, over here! Then I was led to the kitchen, and they brought out something unbelievable. Here you go! This is it! Look, it suits you, Olivia! It's filled with luxurious seafood. Be grateful. That's what she said, and my mother-in-law brought out an instant noodle. I ended up eating it alone in the kitchen, feeling lonely. I clearly felt that her actions were deliberate acts of harassment, so I didn't care anymore. And every year, her malice was waiting for me to make sure I couldn't eat sushi. I had been enduring it for 4 years. As usual, I went to my in-laws' house and finished cleaning, but then my mother-in-law suddenly said that my uncle was coming this year and asked me to go pick him up at the station. My husband offered to go, but she said he had to replace a light bulb. I went to pick up my uncle by car and waited, but he didn't come. After more than 30 minutes since I arrived, I received a call from my mother-in-law. It was a message that my uncle couldn't make it. I couldn't believe it, so I returned to my in-laws' house. Sure enough, all the sushi was gone. I had been relieved because she said my uncle was coming. I was naive in my thinking. After 4 years, I couldn't stay silent anymore. I couldn't enjoy the high-quality sushi with my relatives at my in-laws' house. You take this. Every year, it's just a cup noodles for me. Oh, don't worry, because this will be the last year. I got seriously angry. And then, something unbelievable came to light. What? Don't assume that this is the last. Don't make assumptions on your own. We'll continue doing this from now on. Is it fun for you to do this every single year? The image of you before marriage, where did it go? It disappeared, didn't it? Oh, that wasn't me. I'm not kidding about having to take care of my daughter-in-law. I see, understood. I don't care what happens next. What are you saying? Don't make fun of me. Upon hearing that, she got angry and went to the living room. I had set up something to make this the last time. And as I sat alone in the kitchen eating a cup noodles once again this year, my husband came. Upon seeing me, he got furious with his mother. Why is Olivia eating cup noodles? Is it happening again? What are you talking about? She said she wanted to eat it. I have never said such a thing. Don't lie to me. Every year, you give me these so-called fancy cup noodles, but you never has any intention of letting me have sushi, right? What? Every year. I didn't say anything because it's about your family, but this happens every single year. What did you say? Enough with the jokes. What an outrageous wife. I have never done such a thing. You're disqualified as a wife, just like you. Cut it out already. That's my line. Why do you enjoy bullying Olivia like that? When my brother got married, you said ridiculous thing he was taken by his wife. You started depending on me. And when I told you I was getting married, you took it out on Olivia, my wife. It's time for you to change and become independent. What are you saying? You are supposed to be on my side. You are the child I gave birth to, so you should be grateful to me, right? That's a separate issue altogether. Don't you have any empathy as a human being? A life of dependency is the worst thing. I have my own life, so... I'm sorry, but I'm leaving. I will never come back to this house again. Wait a minute! John, are you betraying me? Oh, John! I held hands with him and we drove back home. Then, we decided to go out for a drink with my brother-in-law and his wife. And then, one after another, we heard stories about my mother-in-law from them, and I felt a chill run down my spine. It seemed that she truly controlled and doted on my brother-in-law, treating him as if he were her possession. She didn't seem to see him as a child to be cherished, but rather as an extension of herself, someone she could make obey her every command and keep close to her. That kind of mindset made it the worst possible situation for my sister-in-law when they got married. Once he was out of her house, the floodgates of criticism opened. Her appearance, education, upbringing, everything was ridiculed and belittled. Our mother-in-law made her do her bidding without acknowledging anything about her, but our mother-in-law put on a friendly face in public. He couldn't notice anything, and he believed what his mother told him, that she was a great wife who worked hard and got along well with her. He was completely mistaken. When the truth came out, my brother-in-law confronted her, but things got even worse afterward. Her focus shifted to my husband. Since my husband was busy with work and didn't have time to pay attention, my brother-in-law's wife bombarded him with gossip about us, putting him in a brainwashed state. My husband wasn't easily deceived, so he pretended to listen and ignored her words. As a result, she started interfering with my husband's life, complaining about him coming home late from work, telling him not to go out on weekends, and generally causing trouble for him. But he remained unperturbed no matter what she said. It seemed she was frustrated that she couldn't control things as she wanted. She strongly opposed our marriage as well, or so they say. Everyone was fed up and troubled by her strong dependency, and my brother-in-law and husband said they understood how my father, who had cheated and left, must have felt. The trust within the family was completely shattered when it was revealed that my mother-in-law secretly fed me cup noodles. Next year, we decided to spend New Year's Eve at my brother-in-law's house. And then, it happened 3 days later. I received a call from my mother-in-law with an incredibly fierce tone. She blamed everything on me, saying that it's my fault and she demands that I should repair the relationship between her and my husband. Also, she asked me if I reordered this to my father-in-law, so I simply replied that it's irrelevant and hung up the phone. However, she was not satisfied and kept calling me repeatedly. This went on for a while, and I continued to ignore her calls, never picking up. It was during the weekend when my brother-in-law and his wife came over to visit, and we were having a meal together. Suddenly, my mother-in-law showed up. "Hey! Where is that lazy wife?" We were all shocked. Oming to my house and call me a lazy wife. It must be about me. "So, you've been talking about me, huh? Don't you dare mess with me. How are you going to take responsibility? My home is gone because of you. What? What's going on?" I explained the situation. I was working on a website for a certain company, and it turns out that company was my father-in-law's. My husband and brother-in-law had been told that my father-in-law had cheated and run away. And we wives were told the same story. But it was a big lie fabricated by my mother-in-law. I was shocked when he told me about it. He hadn't cheated on her at all, and he shared his true feelings with me. It was a story conveniently created by her. At that time, my father-in-law had wanted a divorce because he couldn't bear her obsession and control. But she insisted she didn't want to be alone. And as he grew more distant, the relationship became irreparable. After numerous discussions, they finally managed to get a divorce, but it seems he was immediately kicked out of the house. The house where she lives was actually inherited from my father-in-law's father before he got married, so it was essentially his property. However, he was expelled from the house in the divorce, and it had been left unattended all this time. When the grandfather heard about my story, he was furious and decided to sell the house. Enraged by this, my mother-in-law stormed into our house. I had kept the truth about the past inside me, fearing that it would break our family, but now everything has been exposed because of my mother-in-law's misdeeds.
What's going on? Why did you lie to us and deceive us? That's not what I meant. That man was definitely cheating. That's why he always imposed his opinions on me, taking away my freedom. He thought that by doing that, he could get a divorce. He is just a simple-minded idiot. Here we go again with your assumptions. You start making assumptions to suit your convenience. What are you talking about? What I'm saying is not wrong. All the blame falls on that man. So, did you have evidence of his cheating then? It was just you jumping to conclusions. No wonder he would get fed up with this. Stop it! You two are here now because I gave birth to you. I am your benefactor. You are my ally. So stop siding with that man who doesn't deserve it. You keep speaking ill of him, but he hasn't done anything wrong. And yet, you pushed him to the edge. And now you say it's all his fault? Enough already! Don't you understand when I tell you to stop? It's like everything becomes my fault. I haven't done anything wrong. Don't you dare joke around.
Even my husband felt anger upon learning this truth and blamed his mother. And then, it happened. My usually quiet brother-in-law had a flushed face. Even my sister-in-law sitting next to him couldn't hide her surprise. And then, my brother-in-law stood up.
Enough is enough. What the hell is going on? Don't you know how to praise others? You've been trapping your own husband, trapping your son's wife. It's a series of cruel actions. Don't you think we should support and help each other more? You impose your own troubles on others, manipulates everything to suit your own desires, and tells big lies when things don't go your way. What is ally? I'm grateful for giving birth to us, but what does gratitude mean? Our lives are sustained by my father's support, by helping each other. Isn't that what family is about? This is no joke. From today, I sever the bond between us as parent and child. Leave!
My husband was also surprised by this. My brother-in-law, who is usually not talkative, was supposed to be the one who listens while my husband speaks, but now the roles had reversed. Even my mother-in-law fell silent. And then, she was on the verge of being driven out, but she fiercely resisted.
You've all been manipulated by your wives, and your personalities have changed. Realize that you're mistaken.
Now the conversation turned toward us, the daughters-in-law. So, I also spoke up firmly. It seemed that she had been bullying her mother-in-law from the moment she entered the family, causing my father-in-law to lament. Her selfishness started right after the marriage. Her mother-in-law was so troublesome that she even suggested dissolving the cohabitation. And when my father-in-law passed away, there was talk of taking in her mother-in-law, but she said that elderly people should be pushed into nursing homes. So, I said the same thing to her. Then, she started making excuses.
At that time, it was that my mother-in-law who was selfish. She treated me like a slave, making me do cleaning, laundry, and household chores. That's why I said I wanted to leave and dissolve the cohabitation. Even when my husband passed away, she said she didn't want to live with me and went to a nursing home on her own. Don't blame me for it.
Is that so? How did she treat you who can't cook like a slave? It's an interesting story. Mia next door at your place told me about it. She said that you have always been terrible and your mother-in-law used to cry.
What?
That's. Don't make fun of me. You're in the position of a daughter-in-law, aren't you? Got it? It's because of you that I lost my home. Since I have no place to live, I'll be living here from today. I'm sorry, but this is my father's house, where you always speak ill of us. I inherited it after my father passed away, so I won't allow any arbitrary actions.
You're abandoning me? You're saying you'll abandon your parent?
Well, that's exactly what you've been doing all this time, haven't you? So, about that. She reluctantly had to leave. Until the very end, she clung on, but there was no word of apology. My brother-in-law and husband declared a complete cutoff and even blocked her on their phones. Without hesitation, I also blocked her. Then, my brother-in-law and husband reunited with my estranged father-in-law. Misunderstandings were cleared up, and now they go out for drinks as a family more often. My mother-in-law contacted my father-in-law and said she was working in a live-in job in a different region, but the stress was driving her crazy, so she wanted to reconcile. However, he had no such intentions and felt happiest when drinking with his son. As for me, I'm finally expecting a child and looking forward to the day when our entire family will welcome the new arrival. I cherish the bonds of family and intend to continue supporting each other from now on.